Since 2010, SOLIDWORKS has allowed you to create multiple sheet metal bodies in a single part. So you can have multiple flat patterns with these bodies. And this can be useful for creating enclosures or creating sheet metal assemblies. So to start, I'm going to create a quick sketch on this face. And then I'm going to create a base flange tab. So depending on the geometry, SOLIDWORKS will figure out if you're trying to create a base flange or a tab. If it is a new base flange, this is going to go ahead and create a new body. And you'll also notice multiple flat patterns at the bottom. You'll notice the flatten is grayed out as you have to select a body or a flat pattern to flatten that out. And the other body will be hidden when you create or when you go into the flattened mode. Like I was saying earlier, if I were to create a tab or if I were to create a geometry that looks like a tab to SOLIDWORKS, it'll look to merge the result and be part of the same body. With that tab, we can also uncheck the merge result and create a body of its own. When working with a multi-body sheet metal part and bringing it into a drawing, we're going to have to select a body before we're able to access the flat patterns. So whereas we were able to access flat patterns from the right, now if we go into model view, we'll first have to select a body, and that's going to bring you back into the part. And then within the more views options, we can choose a flat pattern. So just remember, with the multi-bodies, there's going to be that extra step of selecting out the body before you're able to add in your flat pattern to the drawing. I'm going to go ahead and delete out this extra base flange. And I'm going to drag out a plane from the right plane and set it off by some distance. And I'll go ahead and create a quick sketch. And once again, if I were to create a base flange from this feature, it'll create another flat pattern and another sheet metal body. We can do this with the base flange tool, the convert to sheet metal, the lofted bends, and we can also do this with an insert bends. And we can also create multiple bodies in this part by mirroring as well as splitting the part. The difference with those two features, the mirror and the split, is that we won't get a sheet metal feature or a flat pattern. So you'd have to add in an insert bends or convert to sheet metal after the fact. One thing to keep in mind with using the convert to sheet metal option is that, for example, if I have a body or a surface that I want to convert over, if I use the convert to sheet metal option, that's not only going to change this to sheet metal, but that's going to update the radius in the other body. So just keep that in mind if you're using that method to create multiple bodies. And to modify this back, we would have to go back into the base flange and change that radius. As I stated earlier, we can create a split feature to create multiple bodies as well. But that second body isn't going to have a flat pattern. And if I try to insert bends onto the split feature, it'll say no bends found. So that split option is generally only useful for working with the bodies themselves and not working with the flat pattern. We can also create multiple instances or move the body itself by using the move copy bodies. I have this added into my surfacing tab, but you can find this in the features and move copy. So if we translate this over, we can create a copy or multiple, or simply just move the original. And we could also rotate this if we wanted. One nice thing with the move copy body option is you're generally able to convert this over pretty quickly. So if I just choose the insert bends and these two faces, I now have a flat for each of these items. If you are producing identical geometry, typically you won't need the flat pattern. Where this will be useful is that if you want to come back in, or if you want to come back into the newly created bodies and add some features or add some edits. But you can use multi-body sheet metal parts for quite a few things. I'll go into more detail in the enclosures and examples sections.